Most of my audience members should know by now that this channel is focused on the long term, the macro trends. We keep our eyes on the horizon. We keep discussion about the short term to a minimum because we realize that it's not all that important to us. Probably because we don't trade on leverage. I'm not here to predict short-term moves. I'm not here to trade for a soup and a sandwich to buy lunch tomorrow. I'm here to ride macro trends that yield thousands of % returns. And my specialty on this channel has been exactly that, identifying the long-term trends, market tops and market bottoms. This channel began with me warning everybody about the impending bubble pop in early 2018. And very shortly after that, I made predictions about Bitcoin's bear market low price, which was only off by $600. And for a 1 year long prediction, I'd say that's close enough. This channel also called the 14K blow off top in 2019, and my more recent viewers may remember that we also called the March crash low in 2020. So yes, I do pride myself in my predictions and my ability to call market tops and market bottoms and understand when the trend is still your friend and when it's not your friend. And a lot of the calls that I have made were done so with very simple methods actually. I didn't have to do anything too fancy. And I'm sure a lot of people are saying, wow, Kevin is just sitting here bragging. And the truth is I am tooting my horn right now, but I would like to qualify myself and my work to all the new viewers who are tuning into this channel recently. And the reason that I bring all of this up is that in today's video, we're going to talk about exactly the trend that the crypto market is on and the staggering amount of opportunity that is still left. So let's discuss the opportunities that are ahead of us, keeping our eyes on the horizon and not worrying too much about short-term movements. So let's just dive right into the video. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be discussing why I'm so confident that the crypto market still has tons of opportunity for us over the next many months, or potentially even the next entire year. For those of you that are familiar with my content, you know that I'm not expecting the bull market to last another year, but that doesn't mean that the market won't have immense opportunity for us for another entire year. A lot of people in crypto seem to think that once Bitcoin tops out, it's over, it's done, you can pack up your bags and head on out. But guys, this is one of the top emerging markets in the world. There will always be opportunity in this market. Now, first of all, let's talk about what I mentioned in the beginning of this video, which was the way that I called the tops and bottoms of the market. How did I do that? And I said, it doesn't really take that much. It's not all that sophisticated. It's actually more simple than you think. And a lot of it has to do with becoming extremely familiar with how Bitcoin behaves, right? Staring at the charts for multiple hours a day, every single day of your existence, and understanding Bitcoin's true nature. So in 2017, the reason why I was confident that the bull market was over was we had a parabolic trend line. And at this point here in December going into January of 2018, well, the market didn't have enough demand to maintain the parabolic trend line. The exponential increase in demand, the exponential increase in price came to an end. We broke the trend and the trend was no longer our friend. And once that happened, I extrapolated the previous cycle and said, very likely it'll be somewhat similar until the next halving. An 85% correction. I measured it up down to about 2,500 and it was off by $600, but it was a simple extrapolation from one cycle to the next, and it worked out. And now the community always discusses the common 85% corrections that Bitcoin has in bear markets, which so far is basically true. So that 2,500 call, which was technically wrong, but also really damn close over that entire year, well, it was a very simple thing to do. The 14K top, also extremely simple. We had a major weekly rejection wick, bearish weekly close off of a major parabolic run. We had another parabolic trend line just like the 2017 run, which we broke below. The exponential increase in demand was not strong enough to maintain that parabolic trend. And the key signal on the 14K run call was the max in volume. We maxed out in volume. We actually exceeded previous levels of volume here from the $3,100 low. So these spikes in volume usually indicate a peak of emotion, usually a market top or market bottom. And the way that I called the March low on this channel was boom, the volume. It was that simple. Bitcoin crashed, flash crash. We had volume levels that actually exceeded the 2017, 2018 bull market peak levels. And I figured that's got to be a market low. Really, it was that simple. And now it's very important to understand these types of signals, understanding when the trend is your friend from a macro perspective and when it's not your friend anymore. Now we're on a very similar path. One thing that I really like about this trend, right now is that the volume currently is not maxing out. We're not getting a peak of emotion yet, right? We had emotions run really high when we broke 20K. But since then, we've had a lot of momentum, right? We've just continued up. And the volume has actually been kind of fizzling out to the downside as we're consolidating, right? Because we are getting a pretty strong consolidation for Bitcoin at these levels. So volume's on a decline. We're consolidating at a really high price. And this is honestly a very exciting setup. Even if Bitcoin did see some kind of correction back to, let's say, the 21-week EMA or something, even if that did happen, I would still be very excited for much more upside in this market. And yes, it is possible that we could see, some sort of capitulation down to the 21-week EMA before running up again. That would not be a surprise at all. But for now, Bitcoin is still remaining bullish. We're trading at 58,400. And we're consolidating here with a decrease in volume. And so far, so good. The trend is our friend here. And what we want to look out for now to see when Bitcoin's topping out is getting that max in volume, getting a huge lead up in volume all the way into the top. Same with 2019, huge lead up in volume all the way up to the top with a major rejection on the daily or weekly charts. And then a breakdown of the parabolic trend, And so far, we have not done that. So we need to look out for a major increase in momentum, an exponential increase in demand, an exponential increase in price, and a huge increase in volume, right? Even if we did get a breakdown, right? Even if that did happen, it doesn't really matter. We need to look out for that major emotional blow off top in the market, accompanied by a max in volume. And then what are we looking for? A break of the overall trend, a breakdown of the overall trend, right? And that would signal to us that the level of demand is not able to maintain the trend and that we are very likely now entering a bear market, right? Somewhere up there. And yes, this does mean that Bitcoin would very likely enter a bear market. And for now, I'm going to extrapolate the previous two bear markets and sort of just, expect something in that direction, possibly something in that direction, 80 to 85% correction, bringing us down close to the $50,000 level at the end of this bull market. If you mark up your resistance lines, right, your upward sloping resistance, it actually coincides with the stock to flow model coming in at about 250 to 300,000, about that level. Some people think that we're going to exceed the stock to flow model, go to 400. Yes, that is also possible. But this trajectory is currently pointing me to believe that we are going to be topping out somewhere in the middle of this year. Could be the summer, could be the end of summer. But I think around summer is when I think we're going to top out in this market. And this upward sloping resistance line, I think, is still relevant. There's a lot of people like Benjamin Cohen who have these logarithmic regression bands, and he has the resistance drawn at like 80K. I disagree with this. And then we also have like Crypto doing this logarithmic resistance line. And I just think it's irrelevant. I think the way that this line is curved doesn't really have anything to do with Bitcoin's fundamentals. I mean, I think it's just something that looks nice on a chart. And the reality is we need to be analyzing, human behavior, Bitcoin's traditional performance, the way that Bitcoin behaves, understanding Bitcoin's behavior, and understanding human behavior. When Bitcoin broke the all-time high in 2013, right? Once we got the all-time high break, which is when human emotion kicks in, the hype cycle begins at that point. From that point, we had, about, let's say 245 days, about 245 days. That's how quick it took human emotion to kick in above the all-time high and send us to a new all-time high. All right, so 250 days about. Okay, so next breakout here at the $20,000 level. Let's mark up 245 days, 250 days, around that range. That would bring us to roughly August of this year, 2021, right? So that is roughly how long it took human behavior to push the price of Bitcoin to a new all-time high. And in terms of Bitcoin's behavior, once you get to this new all-time high, the mining rewards, even though there was a reduction in mining rewards, the previous halving, which is what allowed the price to increase, right? Artificial scarcity and a reduction in selling pressure from miners. Once you got to that new all-time high, for the time being, the amount of rewards miners were getting and the amount of over speculation we had was too much. The price was too high and we entered a bear market. Same thing right here, right? So very likely, once we get up to a price like 250,000, right, somewhere around that range, could be 400, as high as 400, something like that. The halving ushered in our bull market, artificial scarcity, reduction in selling pressure for miners. But, those block rewards, once we get up to 250,000, even 6.25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes will be probably too much. And of course, we're going to be completely overextended, completely overvalued at an evaluation of 250,000. That's just too much. And that's when we need to look for our parabolic trend break around that level, signaling to us that, well, the demand is not strong enough to maintain this trend. And that will happen at some point. And that's what we need to look out for. And usually that's going to be accompanied by a max in volume. So guys, you won't get this detailed of an explanation of exactly how to spot these market tops and market bottoms on any other channel. So definitely smash that like button and subscribe to this channel if you're new. One thing that I think is going to take place is that we're going to get an ETF announced during this bull run. Wall Street loves to take advantage of these types of market moves. I think Wall Street wants to pump up the price of Bitcoin. I think they want to send this thing to a 6-digit level, and they want to make sure that it's overvalued, because then they can short the market with confidence. So I think that near our market cycle top, because these guys, they're pretty smart. They'll know when Bitcoin's overvalued. Near our top, they will probably launch the ETF. And this is actually going to cause a lot of FOMO from retail and institutions. It's going to be a big fake out, I think. Even institutions are going to get burned. We saw MicroStrategy was buying down here, right? Then we saw Tesla hopping in, and now a lot of other institutions are probably, worried that they're going to miss out. And once the ETF launches, I think a lot of them will still be fooled. They're still going to be fooled into thinking that, that Bitcoin's the new paradigm or something. Which, even if it is, we know that Bitcoin's true nature, Bitcoin's traditional behavior suggests a major bear market is looming after we peak. If we do get an ETF launch, I don't think it'll be the exact top. Maybe we actually have a final pump right after that. But in general, this is what I'm expecting, and this is exactly what you guys need to look out for in terms of identifying the end of the bull run. Now, like I was saying at the beginning of the video, the end of Bitcoin's bull run is not the end of the opportunity zone. When a bull market ends, that's usually where the maximum amount of attention is, right? Like when Bitcoin hits a price like that, goes all the way up that high, and it's hitting all the news stations again, and it's making, it's hitting all the newspapers or whatever everyone's talking about on social media. Up here is going to be the area of maximum attention for Bitcoin, the maximum excitement for Bitcoin. So what does that mean? That means that a lot of new eyes are going to be coming to Bitcoin. A lot of new hands, new faces will be entering the market at the peak. This is how it is, right? If there's that much attention, you're going to get more market participants even at the top. That's what happened exactly in 2017. It's just human behavior. And this all means that even in the bear market, so even when Bitcoin is coming down off of the high and dumping and bouncing and whatever it's going to do in the next bear market, because it will happen, there is still a ton of energy in the market. Tons of energy in this market, even in the bear market, right? Same thing with 2017. 2018. If you guys remember 2018, do you remember how much energy there was in the market even after the top? Altcoins were going absolutely crazy, right? Looking at the dominance chart at the peak price, Bitcoin dominance collapsed and all the top altcoins started to moon, right? Bitcoin dominance chart right here was the peak for Bitcoin, right? When we were getting to the peak, Bitcoin dominance was at its lowest point as it was topping out. Right? And it was still remaining quite low for a long time. And that's because even though money was flowing out of Bitcoin, there was still tons of energy in the market. There was still tons of interest in the market, and people people were looking for the next thing, right? The altcoins were flying left and right. The biggest alt season happened actually after the peak. So my point is that even when Bitcoin tops out, even though you should probably be, out of most of your positions after we top out, that's the goal anyway. there's still going to be immense opportunity, literally an entire year probably after Bitcoin tops out, until the energy fizzles out, the interest fizzles out, and you just lose the support you need, and you dump, right? Because something in that direction will probably happen again. Maybe it doesn't happen in this exact way. Maybe the bear market is a little bit more stable than normal, right before the next halving, something like that. But of course, there's going to be a lot of interest for Bitcoin even after the bull run ends. There's going to be a lot of interest for crypto when this bull run ends. So keep your eye on the dominance chart. The fact that Bitcoin dominance is just losing this support level now, coming down, is actually a big indication that this bull run is, well, maybe just halfway done. And we have another many months ahead of us of epic upside. The true bubble zone over the next few months is the area of maximum gains. Right? The bubble zone is the area of maximum gains. Bitcoin losing these support levels was actually an indication that the bull run was still continuing. And here we are once again in 2021 losing this support zone, ready to continue upward. And remember everything I said about the volume and the trend and how to identify an actual market top or market bottom, right? Remember, we don't even have a max in volume yet, which means we haven't climaxed. So yes, I do think we have another many months ahead of us into the summer of this year. I think that's probably when we're going to be starting to peak. So now you guys may know a couple more tricks about how to identify market tops, market bottoms, identifying, if a trend is still intact, opening up your mind maybe about Bitcoin's behavior and human behavior, how long the hype cycle lasts from all-time high break to next all-time high. This video was really just chock full of stuff to think about and learn. I really think that this video could make people more informed investors. And this video could help you guys actually learn how to make decisions for yourself, giving you some knowledge and some tools on how to identify all these market trends. We're one of the few channels that makes a prediction and sticks to it for months on end and doesn't waver, right? That's kind of what we do, macro trend analysis. So definitely subscribe to this channel if you enjoy this type of content. And also the last thing I want to say is, of course, nothing is guaranteed. Anything can happen. There could be another global catastrophe and everything gets thrown out the window. So I'm not here to tell you that there's something that's guaranteed in the market. Anything is possible, but this is how I do my analysis. This is what I'm looking for, all the signs that I'm looking for. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.